Hey, podcast listeners. In today's episode, I share some of the clearings and messages that came through on the total lunar eclipse of last week. There was lots of good messages from the master angels that I want to share, and some very powerful requests to help us on our journey moving into the new paradigm. Enjoy the episode.
You're listening to Let's Get Metaphysical. This podcast explores the spiritual and metaphysical world through the experiences and opinions of the host and those interviewed. It should not necessarily be seen as direct endorsement or personal advice to our listeners. We encourage you to use your own discernment, judgment, and intuition regarding anything you learn from this show.
Let's get meta.
Welcome to the Let's Get Metaphysical podcast. I'm your host, Renata Maniaci, here to remind you that you are a incarnated soul here on lovely planet Earth for a brief period of time in the grand scheme of things. So please make the most of it. This is episode 78. And in this episode, I wanted to share with you what came through on last week's lunar eclipse full moon clearing that I did for my community. So I will be doing that. But first, I wanted to thank everyone who joined the community to receive the bonus and exclusive content from the podcast, the supporters, the angels, supporters, and angel donors of the community. Thank you for celebrating our 3rd anniversary of the podcast throughout the month of May. I really, really appreciate it. And it's just been such a beautiful journey. It's been a very transformative last few years for me, and especially it's been a very transformative last couple of months personally in my life. And I just wanted to thank you all for being on that journey with me on some level. You have been, so very much appreciated. For the bonus content of this episode, and I'll repeat this at the end, I will be sharing this past lunar eclipse clearing with all levels of angel donors in our Patreon community. So this was a very powerful clearing. Traditionally, it's only shared with certain tiers. I'm going to make it available to all tiers. So if you want to gain the benefits from this powerful clearing, go ahead and become an angel donor of any level at patreon.com/up and Well, let's jump right into the episode. Are you ready? Let's get meta. Masters and angels, I request your presence. I call you into this energy field in the name of love, light, and truth. Please help me to be clear about anything that I need to bring through today. And please allow anyone who needs to hear this episode to hear it. Thank you with gratitude and full faith. Bless creation. This past week we had our total full moon lunar eclipse. And, everyone feels a little differently around eclipses. I happen to feel very energized. It feels kind of like I'm high on life. And that's just how I am. And I know people who are the exact opposite and try to avoid being outside during the eclipse. For some reason, I just happen to love them. And I feel like a lot comes through for me during those days. And on that day, like I do on every full moon, I gave a full moon clearing for my online community. And I had asked the masters and angels for it to be the most powerful one that I've done yet, as I do. And a lot of really interesting things came true that I wanted to talk about today. One is that I started to call in the masters and angels to do the clearing. And we were going through the initial general clearing. This was on a YouTube live stream. And the image that I was shown, it was a really powerful image that I was shown, but it was kind of in cartoon format. It was cartoon angels carrying bag after bag of trash, like slung over their shoulders to the dump. And it was just like this never ending line, because what they were showing is that there was a lot to clear that day. And as the clearing progressed, I understood that it's because consciousness is reaching so high a point that hasn't been seen anytime recently on the planet, that all the lower levels of consciousness, the things that we carried, the things that we believe, the things that we held in our energy fields from lower levels of consciousness, are now allowed to be, thrown out, essentially. As each individual raises in consciousness on the planet, and the planet's collective consciousness raises, as what is happening right now, we all are allowed to let go of crap that we've been holding on to that is no longer applicable in this present moment. And so that was really encouraging to me. And it felt really great to be doing that clearing. And another message that came through was that of the importance of neutrality, especially in these next few months. They really were emphasizing that it's important to remain as non-reactive as possible. And I know I've talked about this before, but it's coming up again. There seemed to be guidance that things would be coming out over the next few months, certainly the next year, but over the next few months, that may rock you, may rock us, may shake us, and maybe completely shift our reality, completely shift our paradigms. And just so happens that that's what I titled the clearing for that day. That's what came through to call it, is literally time for a paradigm shift. And I understand why that was coming through. It's because we're allowed now to let go of so many old ways of thinking, old belief systems, old patterning, old programming, even old genetic coding and cellular memory and cellular ancestral genetic, all of it. Because even those things are changing within us as the vibration on the planet rises and as the level of consciousness rises, as we're allowed to become more aware. Raising your level of consciousness, one way of looking at that is simply being able to see more of the big picture. Lower levels of consciousness, it's like they're only looking at one puzzle piece out of a giant puzzle, or maybe 5 puzzle pieces out of a 500-piece puzzle. And so you can think of your vibration and your level of consciousness as it goes up. You're allowed to see more pieces of the puzzle. You have that worthiness, you have that deservability, because you are able to raise your level of consciousness and deserve to see more of reality, of the reality that surrounds you. And so as this is happening all around us, and it has been happening for a time now, but as this happens, we get to see more pieces of the puzzle. We deserve to become more aware. Higher consciousness equals being able to become more aware. You're more aware of reality. And so this trash that was being ceremoniously tossed out by this legion of angels for this clearing, it was happening for my group that I was clearing for and myself, but it was also, being shown that it was happening on a collective level as well. And this neutrality moving forward, something that came through later in the clearing, was the importance of, they actually asked me to clear any blocks to accepting the future. And that was a really interesting thing. I hadn't heard that necessarily before, the things that came out before that they wanted me to clear, because the feed was actually cut halfway through, which has never happened to me before on a live stream, but I just kept going anyway because the energy was there. Things that came through before that were clearing relationship issues, which is fairly normal. Relationship with yourself, with your peers, your family, those around you, and your relationship with God and the divine and the angels. Then what came up was clearing fear, and anxiety, especially about the future. And that's what came up. But then what came up after that is clearing blocks to accepting the future, which is a very interesting thing. It suggests that what is going to happen might be reacted against and not accepted by many on the planet. It was an interesting thing to arise. And as I was doing that clearing, they came back in and said, this is where the neutrality comes in, because you don't know better. Because the things that happen actually are sanctioned by the divine, by all of the beings, all of the higher consciousness level beings, cosmic, universal beings, angelic beings that are helping us through this time right now and are working on behalf of God and on behalf of the divine for the highest and best outcome of this earth, the people on this earth, and the universes, because what happens here is absolutely affecting everywhere else in the universe, other planets, other beings on those planets, etc. So accepting the future, whatever is coming, and being able to hold a neutrality and hold a non-reactivity as much as possible for whatever comes our way, which I don't pretend to know at all. But certainly the energies are moving towards something or many somethings. And I felt compelled to share that message. It was a important one. And also we have a few more eclipses coming up. We have the solstice coming up. And I don't pretend to be an expert at astrology. I'm not. And there's Western astrology and there's Vedic astrology. And a lot of people in my community believe that Vedic astrology is more accurate. Not that Western astrology isn't, but that Vedic astrology is actually more accurate. But it doesn't matter. I'm not an expert at astrology. However, it does affect us. That I know to be true. The stars, the planets, the alignments, they do affect us in a very real way. And those effects, if they're positive, are great. And if those effects are negative, they can be mitigated. As I was doing that clearing, I was playing a process called astrological repair to mitigate any negative effects of the lunar eclipse, if there were any. So I guess I'm talking about a lot of different things, and they're all related, they're all connected. But this is what's wanting to come through right now, is really to continue to do your work and take out your own trash as much as possible right now, as much as you're able to, in whatever ways you can. Everyone has different ways of working on themselves, and hopefully you are in some way. Hopefully you are making some move or moves to raise your level of consciousness, let go of things that are no longer serving you on all levels, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual levels, as we move into this new paradigm, literally this new paradigm. I can be reasonably certain that even though I don't know what's going to happen over the next 3 to 5 months, I can guarantee you that the next 3 to 5 years will look like nothing we've ever experienced before in recent history on this planet. And so clearing out what no longer needs to be there, anything that's holding us back, anything blocking us or preventing us from accepting the future, from moving forward in neutrality, and dare I say love and acceptance, patience, compassion, strength, bravery, doing what's right, and helping to be strong enough to weed out those things that we no longer want to see on this planet. There's a great deal of negativity on this planet, more so than many, if not most, other planets. This is my guidance speaking through me now. This is one of the most negatively skewed planets in the universe. It's as though you walk into a house and there is a mouse trap and it had a dead mouse in it, and you're just trying to figure out, oh, what's that smell? Where's that coming from? We need to get rid of that smell at all costs. I can't live or be in this house with that smell. We have to find it and make it better. Well, the universe is the house, And the earth is this mousetrap holding this mouse, and it needs to be cleaned because the rest of the universe can't handle the smell right now. This is a metaphor. But this is what's going on a cosmic level, so to speak. And there's infinite layers and levels of this, but to be as clear as possible, what they want to bring through is that this planet is being cleaned up right now. It absolutely needs to be. There are ugly truths that are coming to the surface that aren't new. They've been there for eons, tens, hundreds, thousands of years. But our cosmic neighbors, our universal comrades, and the guides and angels and cosmic beings that are helping this process can't take it anymore. It's time to get rid of that smell. And so we are being assisted right now to move into the next paradigm, to shift into a higher dimension, a higher vibration, a higher frequency. And this is not a new thing. This has been happening. This has been the plan for a long time. But we are in a moment right now. We here on Earth in these 3D bodies, yes, we are all souls who chose on some level to incarnate as human. Many people on the planet have incarnated as human over and over and over and over and over again for eons and can be considered earthlings. And several souls have chosen to incarnate into human bodies from other places in the universe and from other even dimensional realities, beings who are not used to a 3D existence on this planet, beings who are used to perhaps higher dimensions, higher levels of reality, where perhaps they don't even have physical bodies. They have evolved beyond having a physical body because they're vibrating at such a high level. Many beings, many souls have chosen to incarnate into this planet, into a 3D human body, to help with this transition from the ground, boots on the ground. And so what we are being asked to do right now is to keep taking out the trash so that we are unimpeded, unhindered from moving forward into this new reality, this new vibration that is being created for us and by us at the same time. And we can all do our part by continuing to let go of our baggage and literally ask for help in doing that. Ask for help from the highest angels of light in removing and eliminating all types of impediments that no longer serve your best and highest good. And you can do this how you like, but a way that you may do this that works for me, as you've heard on the show before, is simply by requesting it. So for example, masters and angels, I request that you help everyone listening to this podcast episode in releasing, clearing, and eliminating anything that does not serve them and us in our best and highest good moving forward for the highest and best good of this planet, this collective, and everyone on the planet. Please let us easily clear and eliminate anything holding us back that we no longer need now from our bodies, cells, and fluids in all lifetimes, timelines, and dimensions now. Thank you with gratitude and full faith. And that was a long request, right? But it can be very, very simple. For example, masters and angels, I request that you help me let go of anything that is no longer serving my best and highest good. Thank you with gratitude and full faith. It's kind of like writing a letter, only you don't even need the paper or the writing utensil. You can think this or speak it. And it actually helps. It really does. Try it. If you're listening to this like, oh yeah, sure, okay, pray, right, making requests, sure. Try it. Try it with sincerity in your heart and see what unfolds for you. You can ask for help with anything. Anything. And as long as it is aligned for your highest good and it's not going to hurt anybody else and it's part of God's plan and purpose for you and for the world, you will see help. You will feel support. You will feel yourself moving in that direction and see the world change around you to help you with these things. If you're wishing for the ill of somebody else, no, that's not what they're here to help us do. You can't do that. That's against universal law. So you can hope for that and pray for something ill against somebody else all you want, but that's not going to happen that way. Unless you're asking that of dark forces, of fallen angels. Yes, there are fallen angels. So when you're requesting things, please make sure that you're always requesting help from the light, help from the highest divine consciousness, letting go of what no longer serves you, allowing the angels to help you put that in the dump so that you can move forward free, unattached, unhindered, not grasping onto the past or the way that things have been on this planet. The negativity here is no longer tenable. It's time to shift. And that's why we've seen so much negativity arise. It's not that it wasn't there before. We've been steeped in it since incarnating on the planet. So we're used to it. We don't even realize how negative this planet is because we don't have a memory of how else it is elsewhere in the universe. But all of that is being cleared as we speak. And hopefully we're moving in the right direction fast enough, because timelines can still change. They do still change depending on the collective consciousness and your individual consciousness. What we think and say and do does matter. It does affect us and those around us, and that ripples out. It ripples out. So the more we can let go of now, and the more that we can move forward in neutrality and non-reactivity and, dare I say, positivity, hopefulness, optimism, love, compassion for our neighbors, loving your neighbor as yourself, that will help us, and that will help you individually and your family individually move forward into this new paradigm. And that's what's being asked of us right now. We can all move forward unencumbered, unattached. We can ask the angels, the highest angels of light, to cut any cords that no longer serve our best and highest goods to all people, places, and things. To remove attachments to false beliefs, things that we have been shown were true, we thought were true, we knew to be true, that just aren't. We're allowed to become more aware right now. That is where we are in the tipping of the scales on this planet. We're allowed to become more aware of the truth. I mentioned before, not every planet is like this. Let's just imagine for a moment that Earth was a 50-50 planet, 50% positive, 50% negative. Not all the planets are like that. Most of them are far more positive than they are negative. There are very few that are like this. There are a few that are like this. There are a few that are worse than this, but very few. And it's all okay on a higher level. It's not like there's something, I guess, wrong on the highest level of divine creation, because it is. So it has to be perfect because it is. And it's time for it to change. It's time for this planet to shift into a higher gear. This will no longer be a 50-50 planet. We're moving into maybe 70-30, maybe 80-20. Timelines are hard. I wish I could say, yes, by the year blah, 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 it will be this, and we will see it in this lifetime. I sure hope so. I do. But even so, even not knowing the timeline, even not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, even not knowing what's going to happen in 5 minutes, we must still have the optimism and do our part to help the planet evolve. So if you can, I urge you to let go of negativity in all aspects of your life. And this is a moment-to-moment growth experience, challenge, lesson that all of us can examine. And I suggest asking for help of your highest and best guidance and from the light in doing this, and helping you become aware of when you are thinking something negative, when you're doing or speaking or acting something negative, and eliminating that reaction and replacing it with something positive, or at least neutral. And in that way, we are all doing our part to help the planet in its paradigm shift to the higher vibrations, the higher levels. And it's happening. It's all happening. And we can help it. We can all do our part. I don't know, again, exactly what the future holds, but I know that things are shifting very fast and that it may be shocking to all of us, myself included, what and how things will unfold. And I know, I can say this, I know that all of the beings of light that are helping us with this, both energetically, invisibly, on a higher plane, on a higher dimension, and the boots on the ground, the souls that incarnated into human bodies for this reason, to be emissaries on this planet physically, and everyone but in between. Everyone is doing their part to tip the scales here and to move us and shift us out of that negativity and to disperse and eliminate the cloud of negativity that surrounds this planet. That cloud of negativity that is literally stinking up the rest of the universe, at least this part, our galaxy, this part of the universe. Everyone is trying to help to shift this in their own way. A few episodes ago, I talked about playing your role. It helps when we become aware of what our role is. And if you're not sure what your role is, ask for help with that. Masters and angels, I request that you help me to become more and more aware each day of what my role is and to help me play it in this lifetime. Thank you with gratitude and full faith. So that you can become more aware of how you are contributing or how you're meant to contribute to this shift, because we are all here for a reason. We all have a purpose in this. We all have a role. So don't hate anyone else for the role that they're playing. Try to understand and become more aware of your role so that you can continue to do that or get on the track of doing that, because you might not be on that track. You might not be performing your role. And if you're not, ask for help with that. Because each individual's thoughts, speech, and actions count, especially right now. That is the end of the transmission for today. Bless creation. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. It means a lot to be able to share these messages and this higher guidance coming through with whoever needs to hear it, because that's who's going to hear it. So thank you again for listening. Very much appreciated. If you are interested in accessing this lunar eclipse clearing, this very powerful lunar eclipse clearing I did from last week, please join any tier, become an angel donor at any tier of our Patreon community at patreon.com/up and awaken. And you get access to all exclusive and bonus content from every single episode and so much more in that community. So thank you for any and all support. And again, thank you so much for celebrating our 3rd anniversary of the podcast throughout the month of May. Thank you so much for listening. Stay positive, stay safe, and stay meta.
The Let's Get Metaphysical podcast is an Up, and Awaken production. Our intention is to raise the vibration of the planet by sharing, validating, and normalizing spiritual and metaphysical experiences. If you are ready to raise your vibration, you might enjoy our free Let's Get Meta Master Clearing. To receive the Master Clearing or to learn more about the podcast, visit letsgetmeta.com. The show is produced and hosted by Renata Maniaci. You can access more awakening content, join our membership community, or become one of our angel donors by visiting upandawaken.com. Thank you for listening. Stay meta.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.
Let's get meta.
Metaphysical.